Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about alcohol and how it's kind of a bad thing in general. I mean, you already know that obviously, but I don't know, it's quite a hard video to make this because it involves me being quite upfront and personal, and I've got like friends and family and stuff that watch these videos now, so and it's something that like we don't really talk about, you know, in general as a society. I mean, we pretend like we talk about it and we pretend like we care, but I don't think we actually do. And what I wanted to talk about is drinking. Specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about home drinking, solo drinking, just drinking on your own, and not drinking for any particular purpose, not drinking for, you know, the sake of living a fulfilling life, but just drinking just to feel. So I first started drinking in 2016. I was 17, which by most standards is actually fairly late. You know, a lot of these sort of stories that you hear from people started at like 12, 13, 14. I didn't, and when I first drank, it was at a wedding up in Scotland, and it was honestly one of the best times of my life. Because it was such a huge event and everything was so larger than life. It was quite a big scale wedding, you know, they booked out a huge place and we had like a big garden party and stuff, and it was really, really nice. And it was my first time properly getting drunk, and the Scots know how to fucking drink. Let me tell you that, they really know how to drink. I must have had, honestly, something like the equivalent of about 13 pints, and it was like my second or third time ever getting drunk, right? And you know, I got back from Scotland and, you know, I was kind of all right for a bit. And because I was in college at the time, and I started to drink more, you know, with friends, and we'd go to people's houses or we'd go to the pub and we would get drunk. And when you're that age, you're sort of 17, trying to like, you know, get your older looking friend to go in a place because he doesn't get ID'd. You know, you go in just trying to get drunk with other people, and that's the aim of the night, is to get as wasted as possible. So, you know, we used to do stuff like who can down a beer the fastest, right? And we would do all sorts of stuff like that, and it was also normal. And, you know, I occasionally would get a drink for myself, you know, just to have at home as a nice little evening treat. And that went from being, you know, every once in a while to being fairly regularly to being every other day to being every day. And then once it was every day, it was like, you know, 1 or 2 wasn't enough anymore. Then I needed to get 3 or 4. And they sell them in packs of 4. So you buy 4 and you feel like you need to have all 4. So you end up drinking more and more as a kind of a result of the way that the product is kind of marketed to you. And I don't know, when COVID started, I'd probably been drinking for about 3-4 years at that point. And, you know, because you're so isolated from everyone around you, you're sort of not going out as much, you're not seeing friends as much. You just start drinking more on your own, and it became a thing where I was just drinking just to drink, really. You know, I'd get like a 4-pack and I would sit down in front of the computer and I would watch like Peep Show or The Simpsons or just some bullshit, you know, and I feel like I would drink so that I would find what I was watching more funny, or I would like drink so that I could listen to the music more intensely and get more of some kind of visceral reaction from it, because what alcohol does is it makes you feel like more open, and like the feelings are all more real, right? And you know, I went from my late teens to my early 20s to my mid 20s, and this wasn't getting any better. In fact, it was just getting worse. And I started working in pubs, and working in a pub is a really terrible environment for people that drink. And I think most people that work in pubs already drink, already smoke, and it was just really bad, because what you end up doing is you end up staying after work and having a pint, and then 3 pints, and then 4 pints. And pints at the pub are expensive, even if you're fucking 20% discount, they're still expensive. So you're going to work and you're spending most of your paycheck on that workplace, and you end up just drinking a ridiculous amount with people that you're not actually that bothered with, but you're with them all the time, so they just becomes like the norm for you, right? And you know, you go to your friends, and you know, it's not really fun anymore. It's just the sort of thing that you do just because this is what we do and what we've always done. And we just drink just for the sake of it. And you know, you stop being drunk after a certain amount of time. You stop actually drinking just to, you know, get drunk. You just start drinking just to feel normal. And you know, once you start drinking every day, you're always drunk because, you know, alcohol stays in your system for 48 hours, right? So that means that if you're drinking, you know, more than every 48 hours, that you are always drunk in some capacity. Maybe sometimes you're more drunk than others, but you're always still a little bit inebriated. You know, because going to sleep and you know, having a hangover, it's not like when you're hungover, you're actually sober, you're still a little bit drunk, and that's kind of what causes the hangover, is how I kind of look at it. I don't know exactly how true that is. I don't know, I just feel like in 2022, I started to really feel like there was a problem because it started going from buying one 4-pack of these, which are £3.09 in the Lidl, right, to buying 2 packs of them per day. So that's £6.18. On the cheapest possible one, you know, and if I went to, you know, to the shop down the road, it'd be double that price or more. So every day between £6 to £15 is going on this, right? Not food, not transport, not all the other necessities that you need to have. And because it's so addictive, you end up putting this before things that are more important, you know. And I would start to not really get like the nice food that I actually like, and I would just start getting crap just because it was cheaper, so that I could buy more of these, which are also really cheap. And it's just kind of, I don't know. You sit and you look at it sometimes whilst you're drinking, and you think to yourself, God, I'm a fucking loser. What the hell am I doing? Is this what I'm going to be like for the rest of my life? You know? And, you know, sometimes I would walk past like crackheads or alcoholic street drinkers and stuff, and I would think, is that my future? Is that what I'm going to become? Is this problem going to get worse and worse and worse? And I feel like the more I'm talking about this, it sounds like, you know, I was some like mega alcoholic, you know, I was fucking going out like getting totally blottoed and fucking like, you know, doing crazy stuff, and you know, that could be kind of fun and wacky. No, it wasn't like that at all. It was incredibly boring is what it was, because I would drink basically on my own, in my room, at my desk, watching shit on the fucking computer, like, you know, just random YouTube videos or random songs or live performances, or, you know, like clips of Peep Show or Fawlty Towers, and I would just circle through the same fucking things again and again and again, right? And I started to really feel like there was an issue. And every time I would get drunk, I would feel really guilty. I say get drunk, I didn't feel any different really. I just felt normal, like it was an impulse that you have to do. And I started to feel like I need to quit. And I would say that every single day, and I'd wake up every single day like, I'm going to quit today. And it would get to around sort of 5 p.m, 6 p.m, because I had a rule, I wouldn't drink before 5 p.m. And that made me feel like I was a normal functioning member of society, because I didn't wake up and immediately have a fucking, you know, shot of vodka with my mouthwash or whatever, you know, like, or whatever. I wasn't like carrying a flask to work or stuff like that. And that made me feel like I wasn't an alcoholic. I was actually just a normal functioning member of society, because this is what everybody does. Everybody goes out and just gets on the piss, you know. And yeah, I started to wake up every day feeling guilty. And I used to also wake up in the morning and I would not want to go on my phone, because I would be really worried about what dumb shit I'd sent to people. You know, would I have gone onto some like old group chat and like just sent like some long ramble about some bullshit? Would I have like, you know, there was a couple times when I went through old like chats in the morning from the night before, and I would see like, oh God, I've really revealed some like really personal stuff that I shouldn't have revealed. And like, there was a couple times when like, you know, I'm just basically just like sad posting to someone else, and I'm putting them in the position where they need to try and comfort me, and it's not fair on them, you know. And I would feel incredibly guilty over it, and yeah, I would keep drinking and I would keep doing it, and I would keep questioning, why am I doing this, and why do I feel like I'm imprisoned by it? Why do I feel like I can't escape even if I want to, despite the fact that I seem to be so conscious of the fact that this is so bad for me? Why is it that I'm so aware of the prison that I'm in, and the door is right there to leave, and yet I'm not leaving? Why are the chains invisible? And are the chains even really there, or are they just imaginary? And, you know, I would dream about being sober. I would really, like, I loved the idea of being sober, but at the same time, you go out to the pub or whatever, and you see like the sober guy right, who's just drinking fucking water or whatever, you know, and you just feel like maybe they're a bit boring. I remember like it was a really nasty thing I would do, and not like I did to people, but it was just a thought, like a nasty thought that I would have about people. If someone quit drinking, you know, I'd be like, oh wow, good for you, man. But deep down I would kind of think, oh god, they're boring now, great, you know, another one gone that I can't drink with, or whatever, you know. And you know, I would never say it to them. I would just sort of think it. And I was really worried that if I quit drinking, that I would become this boring sort of person that doesn't matter, that doesn't, you know, that like I would become like an English teacher or some shit like that, you know, that isn't that doesn't have anything of worth to say. That is just this, I don't know. You know how these people like talk about others like they're NPCs? I was worried I would become an NPC in that sort of way, like a non-player character, because I'm the main character after all, because I'm so fucking interesting, because I drink 7 pints a day, you know, and it's not like I would think like differently of like myself if I was to quit. I would just sort of dream of this idea, you know, that like everything would be the same and yet I wouldn't drink. And I was almost, I don't know, maybe I was scared by the idea because I thought it was impossible, and that the only way it could be achieved is I did become this, you know, non-entity, if I had to like sell my soul or something like that, like my personality is based around drinking. And that's what I started to realize, and realizing that kind of helped me to begin the journey of getting out of it. And I would sort of sit there. And I remember I used to post on Reddit, like, is it normal to drink fucking 7 pints a night? And you know, sometimes people would say, yeah, that's totally normal, you know, and I feel kind of, you know, validated by it. And, you know, I started to realize that I don't need to fucking book a holiday to like the middle of some random, like Vietnam or something, and go on a lash and like get prisoned in fucking Vietnam, you know, to be an alcoholic. I don't need to hit rock bottom and end up on the streets to be an alcoholic. I don't need to wake up in the morning and immediately reach for the bottle to be an alcoholic. And alcoholism is really fucking boring. There's not much to it, and you don't have to be drunk and visibly drunk to be an alcoholic. You just kind of plateau, and you just this constant like inebriated state where everything feels sort of whatever. And, you know, it feels like I would just drink to feel normal. And that all became really scary. And I was always trying to quit. And sometimes I'd manage like a couple days here, or maybe 3 days there, or a week here. And then I would end up going back to it because I feel like, okay, I've made it 7 days now, I can go back. You know, because I've shown to myself that I can handle it, right? And every single time it would go from like, oh yeah, back to once every other day, back to every day, then back to where I was before, drinking 7-8 pints a day. And that cycle happened for probably about 2 years. And I was always talking to everyone about how I would want to quit beer and drink, and I would never drink again, and all that sort of stuff. And the idea of never drinking again really scared me, because like forever is a very long time to say something to yourself that you're going to do, that I am never going to drink again, right? And I quit drinking. I don't actually, that's another thing. I was always chasing the dragon in a sense. You know how they say like, oh, it's pointless to chase the dragon. I was always chasing it, and sometimes I would catch the dragon, and I would see it as like, oh, I need to have that final mad night to remember. You know, I need to have that final night that is just mental, brilliant, that gives me the feeling that I had all those years ago when I was young and innocent, you know. And every time that would happen, I would quit for a couple of days, and then like I would pick up a drink down the shop because I would get this temptation. And, you know, I would be aware and conscious of how stupid it was. And yet I would do it every single time. And nothing would change. And I would just do this again and again and again. And like I went up north a couple of times because me and a friend, we go up north quite often. And we get like an Airbnb and we just go film some videos and like go see some sights and stuff. And like I realized I was drinking like all the time, and like I was just doing nothing but just get drunk. And like he even commented like, you are having a lot, and I was just like, no, I'm not. Like I know people that drink way more than me. And it's not like alcoholism isn't a fucking competition. like drinking is not, it's not a game that you play to try and get the high score. It's a way to try and make yourself feel more real, because at the moment you feel fake because you're discontent with the world that you're in. That's why alcohol like consumption rates are so high in like third world countries. That's why, you know, the lower class tend to have more alcohol problems than the upper class. That's why all of these things kind of occur, because you're depressed and so you drink to try and alleviate your depression. But alcohol in itself is a depressant, so it's a total fucking waste of time. It's like, I don't know, it's like drinking coffee to try and solve your insomnia. You know, it doesn't make any sense. But to you in that moment, while you're in that state of needing and being dependent on this thing, you feel like you need it. You feel like you need this to feel normal. And I would look at it and I would pour it in a glass. I wouldn't drink out of a can. I would get a glass and I'd pour it in the glass like I was at the pub, and I would just sit and drink at the desk. And then I wouldn't finish the last bit probably, because I would feel like almost sick, you know, and sometimes I would actually force myself to be sick just to try and make that feeling go away. And I was always waking up fucking like I need to be like vomit, right? And sometimes there'd be like that much left in a can, and it would fucking reek, and I'd smell it and I'd go, oh. And when I finally quit, I don't actually remember the day that I quit, but I remember what I did. I woke up and there was a glass that was quite full, actually. I had probably that much in it, right? And it was completely flat, apple juice looking beer at that point. And I took a whiff of it. I went, oh God, and I picked it up to go take it and chuck it down the sink. And then I thought, hang on, nah, I'm gonna leave it there as a reminder of how much it stinks and how much it's fucking wretched. And throughout that day, I got the usual little craving. And when I had that craving, which I got like, you know, every time like my active thought process would stop and you go back to the neutral state, and then I would crave this, right? I would take a whiff of it and it would immediately get rid of that feeling and that craving. And so I kept it there for like 2 weeks. It started to go fucking moldy. And I only threw it out because someone pointed out that it might actually, like, spores might actually release and actually like fuck me up and make me ill. That's the only reason I got rid of it. It might even still be there today, to be honest. And, you know, since that moment, I thought, like, every other time I would try to quit, I would have so many temptations. I'd be at the pub, like, not shaking, because I never got shakes or anything like that. I didn't get yellow-faced or anything like that. I was just like, God, I would love a drink. Like, this night is so fucking boring. I just, you know, look at all these fucking people having fun. You know, look at them having a fucking drink. Look at that person having a drink. Oh, they're having so much fucking fun. You know, I just want to, like, do this, you know, and just have a drink. But Jesus Christ, it fucking reeks, this stuff. I really can't stand the smell of beer. In fact, I want to get rid of that now because it genuinely makes me feel ill. Like, you know, and it's not that I judge other people for drinking in any capacity. Like, it's a personal choice. Some people have their own journey to make if they decide for themselves that they have a problem and that they want to quit. It's up to you to decide if you have a problem, and if you do have a problem, then, you know, try and take the steps to get rid of it. And if you're worried about your drinking, then you're probably an alcoholic, even if you're not, like, drinking as much as someone else who isn't worried about their drinking, because it's the concern that I think makes it, because it debilitates you. And since I quit drinking about 7 months ago, I've not really had many cravings at all. I went on one date where I felt like maybe I should just drink so that way I'm drinking, because if she drinks, I'll have to drink, because, like, what if it, like, gets, like, you know, back to my place or whatever, and I'm sober and she's not, you know? So I thought I'll just drink just so that we're both drunk, sort of thing. But it turned out she didn't drink anyway, so that was quite a fucking lucky thing, because if it weren't for the fact that she didn't drink, maybe I would have relapsed, and maybe I would have just started drinking this shit again. And I think if I was drinking, I wouldn't be able to make these videos. And I think the fact that I was drinking is what makes so much of my old content utterly unwatchable to me, because so many of the ideas I got from it were just because I thought I was so fucking funny. I thought I was so intelligent and so creative because I had these mad ideas when I was drunk, and I thought that that made me a better person than everybody else because I got inebriated and the inebriation gave me inspiration, and I thought that it was a dichotomy of that, right? But since I started drinking these, right, they taste exactly the same. They taste exactly the same. And this stuff, genuinely, that's what I think of it now. Like, it is honestly the most vile, wretched, fucking disgusting shit ever. And, you know, I was a little bit scared to make this video for a few reasons, because one, it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to do, to admit that I had a problem. Two, it's an incredibly vulnerable thing to portray to, say, like an audience, one that's very large, and as is. I mean, there's like 7,500 subscribers and there's like 2,000 returning viewers. And, you know, then there's my family and friends, and like my nan watches these videos, so now she's gonna know I had a problem. And, you know, I didn't want to make it for that reason, and I also worried that if I made this video that it would make me feel like, oh, I'm okay, I can drink again. And that's why I didn't make this video for quite a long time. But I don't know, I just felt like it was something I had to figure out, because once I quit drinking, I realized that I was having more fun. I realized that I was enjoying life more, and I realized that everything felt so much more beautiful and colourful and ecstatic. And, you know, and the days, I didn't feel like I just wanted the days to end. I didn't feel like I wanted to just dive into my phone and forget about the world. I didn't wake up in the morning feeling shame because of some possible text I might have sent to someone that was embarrassing. And I felt like I could be productive, and I felt like I could get stuff done. And since I quit drinking, I've been so much more productive, and I've managed to get stuff done all over the shop. And, you know, that's all very obvious side effects of quitting booze. But what I didn't expect was just how much more holistic and visceral the world became. I felt like I was always sober when I was drinking, but now that I'm sober, I feel like I'm always what I was trying to achieve when I was drinking, if that makes sense. I feel the world in a very satisfying way that some may only be able to get through inebriation. And, you know, I go out on nights out. I go to the pub, I go clubbing. Well, I don't like going clubbing, but I do go clubbing. You know, I go to live shows and I go to friends' houses where everyone's drinking, all that sort of stuff. I'm surrounded by alcohol and loads of people drinking and getting drunk, right? And you know what? I get drunk off the vibes. That was something I was a bit worried about when I quit. Like, I quite enjoy the whole, like, stumbling home at 2 in the morning, spouting shit and shouting shit with your mates. And I thought that might never happen again. But no, it didn't. In fact, it actually became more common. The crazy nights out actually became more frequent after I quit drinking, rather than less. I felt more childlike wonder, rather than less. And every night just felt more whole and interesting, and life just felt more real after I quit drinking. That's kind of it, really. Like, and now it's been about 7 months, and I can count the number of times I've even vaguely had a temptation on one hand, and of those, only one of them was any like real threat. And that was only because I was going on a date and I didn't want to be like the sober one to someone who's drunk, you know? So that was the only reason. And the other times were just like, you know, your usual call from the void sort of shit. You know, like you're walking down the road and you see, you think like, oh, what if I just throw myself in front of that car? You know, you're not actually going to do it, but like, and it's almost an intrusive thought. That's the only time that it's ever really come up, and that's only happened a small handful of times. And every time it's happened, I just think, God, wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be stupid, you know? And you know what? Now I sit at the desk and I have maybe 1 or 2 of these. And, you know, I watch the same Peep Show, Faulty Towers, YouTubers, fucking bullshit that I did before. Nothing inherently changed in my life. Like, if you're thinking about quitting drinking, the sober life is not like different in any real capacity. It's only slightly more, right? It's only slightly more. And you can still do all the same things you did when you were drunk. You still have all the same experiences, and you can still get drunk, right? I still get drunk. When I stumble back at 2 a.m. with my mates, I've had like 4 or 5 of these, right? And they've had like 4 or 5 like real beers, right? And we're chatting shit, and I feel just as drunk as everyone else. I feel like I'm having a good time, and I feel like I'm not unhappy with the state of the world, and I feel actually content with things for the first time in a very long time. And you know, I don't know what the future will bring, because I've never said that I have quit drinking. I wouldn't say I've quit and I'm never going to drink again, because forever is a long time. I just think of it as I'm not drinking at the moment. I think of it as I'm not drinking right now. Right now I'm just having these, you know. Or do you know what's also good? You can go to the pub and just order water, and water's free. I went out yesterday, and I got the bus, and sometimes like the Oyster card thing, like the light is usually green. This time it was red, and the guy just like waved me on. I went to the pub, got free waters, got the bus back. The whole night out cost £1.70, or whatever a bus costs, something like that. And you know what? If I was drinking that night, probably would have cost about 30 quid. I think there's a couple things that frustrate me, and they're not to do with the actual quitting of the drinking. It's to do with the way that these are put around. So first off, you know, you don't really get as much choice. Like when I was drinking, I would never have drunk Heineken, but now it's my main drink, right? What also frustrates me is that they put the non-alcoholic stuff in, like, amidst with all the alcoholic stuff. So you have to go down the alcohol aisle and like choose it. And sometimes in some shops, it's like literally intermixed. Like they'll have the Heineken like original, and then they'll have the Heineken Zero right next to it. I went out about 2 weeks ago, and I went to get 4 of these. Right, so I went to a corner shop, and I got one out, and I got the second one out, and I got the third one out, and I got the fourth one out. And I was walking to the till, and the person I was with pointed and was like, "Hey Josh, you've accidentally got on a normal Heineken." And I looked at it, and I was holding 3 Heineken Zeros and a Heineken Original. And I thought, what? That's weird. That's weird. So I put the Heineken Original back, and I went and grabbed another from the shelf. And then she pointed and was like, "You've done it again." And it was like they've stacked it in that sort of way that it, you know, that could have been an accidental like thing there. And that really frustrates me. Also, what frustrates me is sometimes, like, after the pub shut and you want to get a couple like cans with your mates or whatever, like they get nice refrigerated ones, and mine are in the fucking like dry shelf next to it where it's not refrigerated. So they get nice cold beers and I get a warm one. That frustrates me. Also, what frustrates me, and I know it's not really like, because it's the cost, because these aren't like significantly cheaper than alcoholic beers. In fact, I'm kind of paying more for these than I was paying for that fucking Perlenbacher shit that I was getting. Like 4 of them is £3.09 for 500 millilitres. This is £4.50 for 330 millilitres. So I'm getting less, but at the same time, I drink less of them because I'm not compulsively getting them. I'm not going to the fridge and getting fucking like a whole 4-pack just so that I can get all of them, because I know I'm going to drink them in that amount of time, so I don't have to keep going back and forth to the fridge. You know, like a 4-pack of this will last me like 3 days. A 4-pack of that would last me like 6 hours. And so there's a couple little frustrations there, but they're to do with the logistics of the supply chain, I suppose. And I feel like I don't really have any words to anyone that would that is looking at this, trying to quit, or maybe they're looking at this and just sort of going, "Oh, shut the fuck up! You think you've got a problem or whatever?" Like, look at me, I'm way worse. And it's like this isn't a competition, right? It's not about who can be the most fucked up, and it's just about trying to make yourself as happy as possible. And for me, quitting drinking really made me a lot happier, and it made life feel like it actually begun. And for the first time possibly in my entire life, I look forward to the future. Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard video to make really, because I was gonna like throughout the video I was gonna like throw fucking stones into the river, but I forgot because I got so into this. I don't know. I don't even know how long this one is. I just know that it's a hard topic to cover because it's quite a sensitive topic, and you know, if you're watching this, you feel like, I don't know, maybe you're drinking, but maybe you feel like, that's another thing I was worried about doing in this video. I don't want to feel like I'm judging other people that do drink, that make the choice to drink. This isn't a video to judge others for their decision. It's a video to sort of maybe help people that are earlier on in the journey that I was on, to maybe make that step, to show them that it can be done, that it is possible, and that once it happens, it can be easier than it actually looks, and it can be more satisfying than it can actually look. And it's not like you need to give up fun to give up drinking. In fact, it's the other way around. I think that's going to be the video, because yeah, this is fucking depressing. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hope you managed to get something out of this. I really hope you managed to get something out of this. Please leave your life story in the comments below. I'm not going to respond to like all of them, or probably even most of them, but I'd love to see what's going on, and get some discussion going on in the comments, and just, let's try and help each other out. Maybe if a couple people can meet in this comment section and just like enjoy just commenting back and forth to one another, like almost like pen pals, that would just, that would make my fucking like year, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this up, and I've got a couple other videos to shoot, and then yeah, thank you very much for watching this one. I really mean that, for watching this all the way to the, like, how long is this? I'm really hoping that the shot is okay as well. Jesus Christ, it's long. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. There was a robin that kept sitting on the camera, and the camera is literally, it's on like a muddy slope, and it's propped up by my jacket, and a pebble, and the lens cap, and a twig. And I managed to somehow like MacGyver something out of that. I'm surprised it's managed to hold this long, and like honestly, I spent quite a long time trying to set the shot, because I really wanted to do it here, because this isn't like one of the first places I drunk, but me and my friends used to sometimes come down here, and we would like sit around this little area. Sometimes not the tide, but like the pebbles go out further than this sometimes, and like we get some beach chairs down, and like bring like a crate of beers and that, and just like drink, listen to some music. Someone bring like a portable speaker, take suggestions and stuff. And you know what? I don't even feel the need to be nostalgic for that stuff, because now that I've quit drinking, that stuff has begun to happen again, and life has become more interesting. I always felt like I would never be able to get what I had, and now I don't even want what I had, because it's nothing compared to this. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the texts that I get from family and friends because of this fucking video. Oh. Also, alcohol kind of makes you sweat, like a nasty beer sweat. Ugh. Ugh. God. Oh. Jesus. By the way, sorry for the depressing one. Right, just so you see, I am like picking up my shit after me, so I'm not just littering. So you see, there's that little cap as well. There's a bin somewhere up there, so I'm going to chuck it in that.